So it looks like Yosava Dragonclaw is the winner here. She comes from the enigmatic world of Tarkir. She was named the first mother after the fall of the Khans. So anyhow, she is one of my favorite commanders because she was suggested to me by one of my core four. There's four of us that played commander basically, I want to say from the beginning. We started out playing together and played for a number of years, just exclusively with each other. So I went to each one of my opponents and said, what do you think is a good commander I should build around? So one of my friends suggested that Yosava Dragonclaw was the build for me. And so to this day, years later, she is still one of my favorites to play. So let's look at some cool combos you can add to her to get a little bit more power out of her. So for the first combo we're going to look at, it's going to be Dualcaster Mage and Ghostly Flicker. If you have both those cards in your hand, at least 6 mana available, and a couple of artifacts, creatures, maybe even lands, you've got to have some permanents out there. But the way you get this combo off is first you're going to cast your Ghostly Flicker by paying for it, targeting 2 different permanents. Holding priority, you're going to cast your Dualcaster Mage, and you're going to let that Dualcaster Mage enter the battlefield and have it trigger, copying the Ghostly Flicker effect. With that copy targeting the Dualcaster Mage and any other permanents that you have, you're going to resolve the Ghostly Flicker first, blinking the Dualcaster Mage and the other permanents, and then repeat the second step again. Holding priority, casting the Dualcaster Mage, and copying the Ghostly Flicker effect. If you choose to do something like a land or something that produces mana, this combo is also going to get you infinite mana to be able to continue the process. Basically, in the end, you've got infinite mana lands that produce mana. You've got infinite EBTs as well as LBTs. So whether it's leaving the battlefield or ending the battlefield, you've got triggers on your lands, landfall, magecraft, just everything. It's an absolute toolbox combo that can get you whatever you need in infinite supplies. Another infinite combo featuring that Dualcaster Mage and Twinflame. You don't see this very often, but it's a very effective combo if you have both cards in your hand and at least 1 creature on the battlefield. This time you're going to need 5 mana, but 3 of it's going to need to be red, some sort of red sources. So what you do is you cast your Twinflame, paying a red and a colorless, hold priority, and cast that Dualcaster Mage by spending the rest of that 2 other red and 1 colorless. When the Dualcaster Mage enters the battlefield, he's going to copy the Twinflame. You're going to resolve the Twinflame copy, creating a token of a Dualcaster Mage. And again, a rinse and repeat. Just go back to step 3 of casting the Dualcaster Mage, copying the Twinflame, and it's going to wind up with infinite creature tokens with haste. You've got infinite EBTs as well as infinite Magecraft triggers. For our next combo, you might have to do a little bit of digging, and sorry if I'm butchering this, but Airy Elves and Rhythm of the Wild is what we're looking at here. Not in a lot of decks, but all permanents need to be on the battlefield for this one, and your Elves does not have a -1/-1 counter on it. And as long as you've got a creature with flying on the battlefield, you should be good. You're going to activate the Airy Elves by sacrificing him, targeting the creature with flying. When the Airy Elves dies, it persists, so it comes back, returning from the graveyard to the battlefield with that pesky -1/-1 counter due to the Riot ability. But since you're holding priority, you're going to repeat the step from 1, which is sacrifice it again, resolving all of Alfie's abilities during the infinite damage trigger that would normally put counters on. Because that Rhythm of the Wild does not let you put counters on it, or rather it cancels it out with a +1/+1. You're going to have infinite enter the battlefield effects, as well as infinite leave the battlefield effects. Any kind of death triggers or sacrifice triggers can also be stacked in there to great effect. For this next combo, we're going for infinite combats. To do that, 2 cards, Hellkite Charger, Bear Umbra. So what this needs is both permanents on the battlefield, and for the Hellkite Charger not to have summoning sickness. And you're going to need to be able to produce at least 7 mana. That shouldn't be too hard to do. As long as you've got an opponent that you can attack and kill, all you're going to do is declare the Hellkite Charger as an attacker. The Bear Umbra and the Hellkite Charger both trigger. Resolve the Bear Umbras first, untapping all the lands you control. Then resolve the Hellkite Charger's triggers by paying 7 mana to untap all attacking creatures and get an additional combat step. After this one, rinse and repeat. Infinite combo for attacks. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. As hinted at the beginning, I picked 6 of the commander decks that I have and thought I would cover combos for at least 5 of them. So if you like what you see here, please let me know and I will continue this series, and we'll see what other commanders we can find combos for. Thanks for watching.